That's 400 frames, 10 pounds. What a roll.
Yeah.
Always gonna be wrong.
Which was okay, but it was very anti. And she quit there after 2 years. She said, "We're kind of taking a year off."
And then you go up there and
She's been doing some contract gigs. She doesn't want to be
it's a one-man job because she turns them back and forth.
And then she finished this.
Share.
Did you end up with the keys in the car? No. Yeah, that's in the car. It was,
Yeah.
that was not the- No. I know better.
You're in the studio.
You gave us a wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
You knew that you were the coast.
Yeah.
And so the ladies who's walking. Seems like we need to. I think that we have.
Yeah. I reconnected.
It's kind of part of that.
Yeah.
Well, I lived in South City. I started.
That's a great.
Yeah. So, and so. Yeah.
Seriously, Michelle, it's like next time you do a little, and then that's where. So you don't really know what. I'm gonna answer
Yeah. So it's funny. Yeah, it's just weird. You know, one thing that leads to another. You know.
I have a weird conversation about meeting emergency.
They're calling my cell. They were calling their cell for that conference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she should just lay down and get us to have a conversation. He's here, he has a conference call on.
Yeah. You know,
In which case, we should use them. Yes, I'm gonna be, oh, yes. Can we use the
yeah.
We do a lot of.
Because I can send you them.
Right. One hour every day.
I'll let you answer, she's gonna get, okay, you and me.
Yeah, I just answered on your phone.
Hey, John, I'm only on track with you, how to win friends and influence people.
Keyboard it. Well, I can do your all these restaurants.
Well, actually, I agree. Yeah, just.
Hey, now someone hold our plug and back up. Okay, now, just aim it down and see if you see. They don't want us to show people's faces until, or is, yeah, so we're just keeping it aimed off center until anything starts. And we're in the back, so we'll be able to.
Okay, I think that Melissa checked it last time.
So we're then just moving, so
and
hopefully you should be seeing something different.
If it's not working, or some people may not working.
They should see it by now. Refresh it. I'm afraid you see a picture of the. Okay, so you look, that's all got. Okay. And can you hear the sound? Good enough. Thank you, sir. Go back. Roll. There you go. How's it going? You gonna go over to the school board? No, know about it. Yeah, yeah, school board. I'm gonna pull the track. Turns out, I mean, the fun news.
Music practice in church later on. See those.
Something maybe we would have wanted to do in an abundance of caution, maybe 6 months earlier. Not the week before you're supposed to start.
It's not on the agenda, like I said.
Well, it's on the agenda, it's on the way to the very end. That's on the agenda, they're gonna pull the project, that's the agenda.
And you know.
Yeah, it depends on the thing goes, and okay, it feels about it. I'm not sure, I've got one little piece I want to get. Let's get smoking gun, and then I'll be able to do the next one. Install points. the lawyer says they installed it in the 70s. Or he talked to the company that installed it in the 70s. It's, I just need to find out the most people. No one can give me partial rate. The school district said it all came in the 70s, so they can't find it. So anyways, I'm gonna roll there and see what else they got to say. This is what I'm for. My son. Oh, Sally. Losing some weight. You losing some weight? It's just the rain now. Able to make it.
Hey, John. There's some things up on the wall that they're written marker or whatever. I don't know if they're going to refer to them, but if they do, you want to get them there. Yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna have much better shots. Been blocking it for a long time. I can play a little more sideways here. But then why am I? You got it.
Yeah. Get closer would be the better thing. These things only have 12 times magnification.
Yeah, good enough on these stuff.
Depending on how fast. Depending on how fast. Keep the score on okay. We got some really sweet deals.
Hi. Hello. Welcome. I'm Aida. And I'm going
He says about you when you're not there.
No, you want to see it?
Get started. As always, there's more seats in the front. We're going to go ahead and get started. We know that we still have some more people that will be coming in, but I want to thank everyone for coming today. My name is Dirk Alvarado. I've been helping to organize this series of meetings, and it really is a series of meetings. We had 2 at Movers so far. We have this one this week, and then there's a few more that are going to be coming up. As you leave, if you haven't already received it, you can go ahead and get the full schedule of all the meetings that we have, the dates, where they're going to be. They're in English and Spanish, so it's accessible for everybody. Of note, we have 2 special meetings. One is going to be for the youth, and we're going to have another one for the special needs community. We don't have the location yet, but we'll be getting that very shortly. But we want to thank everyone for coming out today. We're going to have English-Spanish translation going on, and we're really fortunate to have PCRC here tonight and through the whole series. And if you aren't familiar with the Peninsula Conflict Resolution Center, they're an institution here in San Mateo that is impartial and is often called in for mediation and to also facilitate meetings like this. So we're really fortunate to have their expertise here this evening. We do have some press here this evening, and we have some cameras. Now, they have said that they definitely want to be very respectful of the process, and they're going to keep the cameras in the back. And you will, if you want, be able to talk to them after. Is anybody uncomfortable with having this here tonight? Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank you very much. Before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to a gentleman that's shown extreme leadership over the course of these events, and he's going to give us a little welcome. So I'd like to welcome Mayor John Muller.
Thank you, and thank you again, as Dirk said. But before he gets too far away, immediately after this unfortunate incident happened, Dirk and I were talking right away, and he stepped up. He truly is a leader in his own right and a real help and asset. We've been on the phone almost every day, and he's done a great job. And on behalf of the city, Councilman Alfano is here also this evening. It is out of our jurisdiction, which I know is hard for everyone to understand, but we also are doing everything we can to play a role to help facilitate. And with the leadership of this group here, they've been so valuable to all of us there. We wanted to ensure that funding would be taken care of right away from the city of Half Moon Bay. We're willing to step up. And also, we're looking at how we can help compensate Dirk for all his hard work. But I think the professionals are doing a great job. This is our second or third meeting, and we thank you. And tonight with the translation, it will be extra special, so we thank you for that. And we'll continue to work and do the best we can to assist in this process. And that's all I can say at this time. Also, thank you very much for participating. And we will turn it over to the professionals.
Thank you very much. I want to welcome you all here and thank you very much for coming. My name is Ann Burrs, and I'm at Peninsula Conflict Resolution Center. I'm there to support everyone in our community who might need services related to facilitation, mediation, and training. I've been associated with the agency for about 18 years now. I really believe in their work. Our mission is to promote people coming together to collaborate and communicate and engage in their communities. And we want to provide you with an opportunity tonight to share your concerns, your thoughts, your questions, your fears around the recent event. And we're going to try and do that in a small group format. And what we do is we have a particular agenda for tonight, and we also have some group agreements. But I want to start off by introducing my team. You're probably already hearing the interpretation art from our own interpreter, Esther, who has been with us at PCRC, and she is doing some interpreting simultaneously. So some of you will be hearing Esther. And I want to introduce other members, so maybe we can start with Ida and Cindy.
Hello everyone, my name is Ida Negron. I have been with PCRC for 1.5 years, but I have been working in the Bay Area with different organizations, especially with the community, with the Latino community and other communities. And I work as a training and facilitation specialist with PCRC. And it's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Cindy Marroquin, and I am also with PCRC been for almost 3 years. My title would be Manager of Community Engagement. And this is, unfortunately, this is my second time that I'm able to come out and help facilitate some communication here in Half Moon Bay. So,
Hello, I'm Zara Bahamati, and I'm an attorney and a mediator, and I've been working in PCRC for about 1 year now, and I am the manager of community mediation.
Okay, and I did mention that I'm the Director of Mediation and Facilitation Services at PCRC. Can everyone hear? Are we at the good volume? Can I get a sense? It's a little bit louder. A little bit louder. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. And as we go forward tonight, I want to invite you all to tell us what you need in every way. I want you to be able to feel free to move about the cabin. This is a relaxed, and I want you to feel comfortable kind of meeting, and I want you to be able to use facilities here, restrooms here. Get up and stretch if you need to. And tell us if there's anything you need from us. If you're not hearing correctly or not understanding something, please let us know. So, as you know, there's a series of dialogues, and tonight we're having a dialogue, and we want to make sure that everyone's voice can be heard. So we have an agenda around that. We're going to talk about specifically what group agreements we'd like everyone to commit to tonight so that everyone's voice can be heard, as I said, and we can have an orderly and comfortable and respectful kind of meeting and really achieve our goals. And we're going to go over that in a minute. We're going to have a little bit of an introduction period within the small groups. We're going to have 2 groups. And then we're going to have a dialogue within those groups and ask some specific questions for everyone to think about and share their thoughts and concerns around. We're going to have report outs at the end. We'll share with each other between groups what it is that came out of those sessions. And then we'll talk about what happens next, and we'll close, and we'll hear a little bit from you about how we did tonight. So the purpose of tonight's meeting is really to allow you the opportunity to share your concerns, any questions you have, as I said, your frustrations, your needs. We would like to be able to gather that information. And we're brought here today because that's what we do. We help people have conversations, and we help with recording and memorializing these kinds of meetings. So we're going to be doing our best to record what's heard, and that information will go to your community leaders who really want to know what your thoughts are and what your experience is and then what you need. That's why we're here, to be that connector for you. And also for the decision makers who want to be able to address your needs. We're also here to hear from you about what you need from us. So please, again, tell us if we're recording properly, if you're hearing us, if you understand our questions, and if there's something that isn't part of the question, what you might want to share.
Maybe if you moved closer up, people could hear you a little bit better.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you. I stand next to my paperwork here, and what I really want to do is be heard by you all. So, group agreements, we do this with every meeting that we have. We want everybody to have some rules of engagement so that we're all on the same page about how we want to interact. And so we have group agreements here in 2 languages. I'm going to read them in English, and Esther is going to interpret for those of you who are on speakers. We ask you to speak one at a time. We hope to have plenty of time for everyone to feel heard and to share. We ask you to allow us to guide the process because we want to provide you with some structure. And we want you to be able to speak from your own experience. That's usually what you know best about. And come with some curiosity around maybe what someone else's experience might be. That's really why we're all here together, to hear from each other as well as to be able to share. So if you speak from your own experience, that's the most informative place to come from, and that helps others to understand what you're experiencing, and also invites them to share what they're experiencing. So we can have some authentic sharing tonight. Take a risk. Oh, I skipped one. Take responsibility for your own participation. What that means is step up. Take this opportunity to really dive into the process. If you're not, as I said, getting something from us that you need, let us know. And feel free to step back if you want to pass on a particular question. We only want you to share if you're comfortable sharing. And then we'll also urge you to share. So we kind of are giving you a mixed message. We're saying, share if you want to, take responsibility, And then we'll say, it would be great if you shared. So we would really like you to feel invited to do that. And it might feel like taking a little risk, and that's what we're here to support you in doing. And then technology. You know, it's a way for people who depend on us to reach us. And so we don't want you to turn off your technology, but we'll ask you to put it on silent or vibrate so that if you do need to step up and address a call from someone, it'll be a little less disruptive to the group. Okay, so feel free to take a minute right now and put your technology on silent or vibrate. And I hope we'll do the same. Any questions about group agreements? Okay, I don't want this side, you know, to be the only side I stand on. So, how's the volume of my voice? Good. Okay, great. So can we all agree as a group agreements? Yes. Thank you. All right. I want my co-facilitators to tell me if I'm missing anything. We really depend on each other. Okay, so there are going to be some individuals here who are service providers in your community. And they're available, and I know that there are some brochures on the table about resources that can support you during this time. And will people who are here to support the group with resources please raise their hand so people can know who you are? Do we have folks from these service agencies? I know that we do have resources in the back. Okay. Because PCRC, as much as we love to be able to assist, we just don't have expertise in all the areas where you may need some support. So we're here to facilitate the conversation tonight, and then we're also here to point you in the direction of folks who are really good at helping around other kinds of needs. Okay? Emotional health and other resources. So I think, are there any questions about what we've already covered? Are we ready to move into our dialogues? So we're going to have 2 groups. And should we have people count off 1, 2, 1, 2? What makes sense as far as dividing?
We would like the Spanish-speaking people to be one.
So we would really like the groups to be a mixture of folks who speak both English and Spanish, although we want to be able to facilitate folks effectively. And we won't be able to have everybody, the simultaneous translation is only going to be for the beginning and the end. Then we're going to have the interpreter join one of the 2 groups. However, we would like the groups to be mixed. So, we tried to do this mindfully. We would like there to be one group of English-speaking and Spanish-speaking folks, and another group of English-speaking folks, because we really need the Spanish-speaking folks to be in one group, but we don't want only Spanish-speaking folks to be in a group. So you understand our dilemma? We want there to be diversity. So, how are we going to do that? Yes?
But you know, if you broke people up into English speakers and Spanish speakers, and English speakers and Spanish speakers, I would bet you $1 that there's somebody within that group that speaks, that's bilingual. So is that really a problem?
I can translate.
Okay.
I think there's a whole bunch
There's a whole
of
bunch.
bilingual people here.
Oh, well, okay. What we want is for monolingual Spanish-speaking folks to get supported by our interpreter. So if you're a monolingual Spanish-speaking person, which side should you go on? Maybe over here.
Yeah, on this side, and then we are going to have the other group.
Let's do it that way.
In the back.
Okay. And then we will make sure the groups have diversity. think that I'm probably confusing you. So let's have all the monolingual Spanish-speaking folks on this side. And then we'll try to keep it diverse on this side too. I've lost my ability to make sense of this situation.
Okay, so should we move them
Okay,
to the
you've
back?
also been helping us with this situation.
Yeah, move it this way a little bit or something.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how do we tell her? We need to actually.
So, once we have our groups,
Yeah.
so there shouldn't be any monolingual Spanish-speaking folks on this side.
Right.
So we can address the interpretation needs over here. Okay. And there can be a mix on this side.
So,
Sarah will clarify everything I confused you.
okay, so we want to get you guys into two groups because we want two smaller groups so we can really have a dialogue and be able to hear one another's perspective. So what I'm thinking, because we have this longer shaped room, if you can take your chair and all of the folks on this side can kind of come forward and be in this area, and all the folks on this side can kind of shift to the back, and we'll be in a semicircular kind of situation.
Thank you so much for your understanding. Which group are you going to be? I don't know. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, okay. So, I just wonder if you have me and Ann split up and one of the, or me and you will be in one. I don't think putting those things in one group makes too much sense since we have both. Yeah. So you want you and then you want to go with Ida. Take that. You want to do this? So I will. After today, I think I need to record. Thank you. I don't know. Okay. So,
Hello, everyone.
so welcome to the meeting. Thank you very, very much for coming out here.
Okay. So I'm going to need
What we'd love to do is to be able to just quickly go around and each of you could introduce yourself and
so again, my name is Ida.
say how long you've lived in Happy. I think that would be helpful for all of us to kind of know where each of us is from.
And I will be facilitating this dialogue. I
Well, my name is Carlos Rivera. We live in Africa for the last 10 years.
First of all, I would like to know more about you guys. So if you guys want to share about how long you have been living in this area, that would be great. So for those of you who would like to share, and you can raise your hand. For how long?
My name is Luis. I live for 12 years in Los Beach.
Would you like to start? And your name also.
Mi nombre es Martina y estoy aquí porque estoy interesada en lo que se va a hablar hoy.
My name is Martina. I'm here because I'm interested in what's happening.
And your name?
So you've been to these?
No, you can say whatever you want to say. Yeah. Anyone else?
My name is Humberto, and I've been here resident for 42 years, and I'm very interested in having a
30 years.
Muy buenas tardes, mi nombre es Amanda Costa. He vivido aquí en Half Moon Bay por 35 años y me interesa mucho la comunidad y todo lo que respecta a jóvenes y las personas.
Good afternoon, my name is Amanda Costa. I've lived in Half Moon Bay for 35 years, and I'm really concerned about a community and I care about a community.
Yes.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Marisol Acosta y tengo 13 años viviendo aquí.
And your name?
My name is Marisol Acosta. I've been resident of Half Moon Bay for 13 years.
Hi, my name is Maria Segura. I live here for 19 years. Buenas tardes, yo soy María Carrillo. Vengo para estar aquí en la luz.
My name is Maria, and I'm here to be part of this community.
Hi everyone, I'm Tony and I've been living in Half Moon Bay for about 11 years. Thank you.
Anyone who has been here for less than 30 years?
Hola, mi nombre es Giselle.
30 years, okay.
I have Josie and I've been 20 years.
Great, that's great.
My name is Josie and I'm living in Elmhurst.
My name is Bradley and I've been working here for 1 year.
So, as I mentioned, I have a little question. My name is Shirley. Guys, can express your concern.
Jim, and I live in Half Moon Bay for 10 years.
My name is Esther. Also, we would like you to talk about any areas and the thing you need or the community needs.
My name is Matt.
That
I'm
would be
from
great.
Pacifica.
So let's start with.
My name is Lupe.
About.
I've been living here all my life.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So we have.
My name is
here-
Donald. I live here 25 years.
So, we're kind of.
Yo me llamo Carla Méndez y he vivido en Los Beach por 32 años y estoy aquí para soportar a toda nuestra familia, porque son muy especial para mí, dos por desde hace 9 años.
My name is Carmen, and I've been resident of Half Moon Bay for 35 years, and I'm here to support Tony.
I am Karen Morrison and I've lived in Coronado for 37 years.
So,
And I'm here
our
to
question is around, your initial reaction.
Jim,
to
I
what happened this new
lived
year.
in Serrano for 15 years and the last 6 years there.
My name is Steve Bowerman. I live in El Granada. I've been here for 45 years. I want to get some answers on this senseless act of violence.
My name is Michael Stogner. I lived in San Carlos for the last 60 years. I used to be mayor and supervisor of San Mateo County. And I'm here to support Tony Serrano and his family. And I'm also here to support San Mateo County coming up with a solution to stop this kind of killing of citizens.
So thank you everyone for introducing yourselves and once again for being here. I just want to let you all know that Cindy is going to be up here and she's going to be recording your thoughts, ideas, perspectives, so that we're able to capture all this information, as Ann said, and pass it along. And I also want to remind everybody about group agreements. We're a large group, so it's going to be a little bit difficult, but we will make sure that each and every one of your voices is heard. So, you know, maybe you can kind of show me if you have a comment to make. I'm going to kind of help facilitate here with some initial questions, but please, you know, feel free to participate if you want to hear what you say. So I'm going to just begin by asking about your initial reaction to what you heard about what took place a few years ago. So I don't know if anybody wants to kind of start.
My first response was policy, meaning county setting up a policy for all law enforcement. And then my second immediate thought was training all of our officers to be equally trained. And so, and then of course, the tragedy of how does somebody get killed in 20 seconds?
Anyone else?
How can we prevent doing this? Different scenarios. I guess 30 years I've been
Right. So prevention.
Prevention.
Estar preparados para ciertas cosas, más entrenamiento sobre esas incidentes para que no vuelvan a
To be ready for the future to prevent such happening, to really be ready to go. To make sure
Like someone specialized.
And why are they sending a person?
My first reaction was, you know, being here for being on the coast for so many years.
Anyone else?
You know, this is, you know, I've never heard of a murder. You know, I've heard of people, you know, things going on, you know, domestic violence, little things like that, but never a murder with a gun like that. Maybe there was something that was, you know, done down at the beach somewhere that nobody saw. There could have been something that we'll never know. But this was something that was witnessed by a murder that was witnessed by people. And that was, I've never heard of that ever on this coast. It's just, that's a shock for me, you know, and how it could happen. You know, how with all of the, and the second thing in my head was with all of the technology that's out there and all of the different means of preventing gunplay, why wasn't that used? But, you know, so many things. It was just too crazy. You know?
I'm sorry? I was asked, yes, initial reaction. When you heard about it.
Well, for me, I was brain being one of my best friends for the last like 16 years. And like he said, like there's so many different ways to do that. Like stop person like that besides the gun. And what really pissed me off is like it took one bullet. So like the guys really was scared as an 18-year-old butter knives. Like you should have like had different ways of stopping your body. Like that's what they train for. Like they pay a lot of money to train for like the next special like tactic to take somebody down with a knife or with a gun. And his first choice was that I put my gun down and kill this young girl. That was still really about that night. And I'm still like trying to figure out like why didn't I come forward still after 2 weeks and say anything. And like the most every part is like they keep saying there was like super self-defense, which like for me that's not self-defense. That's just like I want to kill you because I have the gun, have a badge, and then give you the freedom to be above the law. And I feel like it's not respect.
I was pretty devastated. This was the second death of a mental health call in about 5 weeks in San Mateo County. And two completely different scenarios, but both of them mental health calls. And one of them, the first one, Daryl James, surrounded for 5 hours by law enforcement. For 5 hours, they could have left him there for 2 days. Put water on him. So we have two different scenarios and two different law enforcement agencies. One was the police department, the SIT line, that also had, I believe, the Daly City SWAT team. So once the SWAT team comes in, so there's some question, and this goes back to my original responses. I would like to have equal training for the whole environment of San Mateo County, no matter whether it's a police department or paramedic. I couldn't believe that we had two in a very short time period, 20 seconds, so I agree with this. It just demonstrates to me completely untrained, completely unprepared. And why did you go there without the backup? And what was the plan? So that's why I continue to say planning, and it just makes me sick.
I was totally confused. I was totally flabbergasted when I heard about it. There is a family calling for help, and then they try to. How does the rest of the community feel about calling for help for that one? I work in a hospital, okay? And I am flabbergasted about the whole situation for family. There is no one, nobody deserves nobody.
We want to invite all of you all to participate. I don't want you to feel like you're outside of the circle. If you'd like to move in.
Now we have to.
How this affected each of you, and how it affected your family. What was the impact for each of you, and if you can feel comfortable with sharing with the group, what you felt and what your family felt.
Enojo, coraje, al mismo tiempo impotencia, porque a veces no conocemos mucho de leyes, no conocemos mucho de programas, de situaciones, y la verdad es algo muy lamentable para nuestra comisión, especialmente. Se supone que son entrenados para auxiliar, no para nosotros.
So we don't know the laws, we're not aware of everything that can be of help to us, but we do know that people are trying to help, not to harm.
Here,
Would anybody else like to share?
and then, okay,
Yo, lo personal,
yo creo que no estarías, no me siento conforme o con la confianza suficiente para ahorita hablarle a un oficial de policía.
No, nadie.
Por lo que pasó, como que va a venir y en vez de ayudarte te va a matar. Entonces, ¿cómo podemos hacer para que esto no vuelva a suceder?
So the way I feel right now is I have no trust in law enforcement. How can I ask for help when I don't know when this could happen again?
Because my son was having el gobierno tiene que entrenarlos para matar.
There needs to be training.
Si están entrenados para matar, pues hay muchas guerras, pero no aquí.
For law officers to be trained to assist the community not to harm, not to kill. There are wars, there are other places to go to, and much less children.
That is when they bring in police, they bring in SWAT team, they make the decision.
I invite anyone here who'd like to share.
I can tell you, I live in Halfmoon Bay. I live next door to a 300-pound schizophrenic man who was a Marine. And when he got off his medication, for 6 years he got off his medication, his friend would call the police, and the police would come around. And there would be 6 cars. And this guy would have a gun. And I saw many times the police deal with this guy with a gun without killing anybody. Wow. One day, the police said to him, on the ground, and there's a puddle like that much, and he wouldn't go down. It took 2 hours for the police to take him away. 2 hours. It took 8 police. So the police do know how to deal with people like this. But this situation, the person thought it would be easy. This situation, I talked to my neighbour, they knew it was hard each time. They needed 6 police officers to get this 300-pound Marine. Went on for a long while. And so they do know how to do it, but they just chose not to do it on this occasion. And so it's just very, very unfair. So that's why a lot of people are upset. I mean, they don't have the perfect training, but they have pretty good training and stuff like this. And you usually hold back, you wait for a little while, you wait for backup. You don't go in. But sometimes people think they can be a hero, and they can fix the thing themselves. And that's the wrong way to do it. You've got to wait for backup. They were warned, the person had a knife, it was a 50-150. And I can tell you, I lived right next door to this person for a long time. 5, 6 years of this, the police come in once a year. See the police take them away. And no one got killed, no one got shot. But they respected this guy because he was a VA guy, a white guy, 300 pounds.
Just going to say, Caucasian guy.
Caucasian, and they respected him. Right. They didn't just shoot him. Yeah. I've seen this guy with a gun, holding the gun up in the air, and the cops never shot him. Told him, put the gun down.
When I first heard the news,
So, this is not the right way to deal with
events
this.
happen on news, it's like somehow detached. I don't like to even admit that that happened, but that was initially, it was like this sense of shock, but it wasn't until later in the week.
I think we're seeing
Era un hombre blanco, esta era una niña hispana. ¿Qué quiere decir? ¿Racismo?
Being troubled by the us and
It was mentioned that the 300-pound man was white and the young lady was Hispanic.
communities.
Is that sending a message? Is that racism?
Yeah.
They're in a like part of the problem, and I don't know how to bring communities, cultures together.
And trust me, they knew this guy was schizophrenic.
Alive, but I feel like
They knew
the worst thing in the world would be to isolate.
once a year, that phone call would
Without
come.
barriers, and I don't
They
know
knew how to handle that
this community's
guy.
going to move forward, but we need to break down these barriers, and
One thing I didn't like,
I know that sounds like something that we all kind of
Is the
say
day
in
after the
theory, and I'm not
shooting-
sure how practically we're going to do that, but
Cameron's Bar, Cameron's Spring, they have Typical night. It's a fundraiser every year. I went to the police chief the next day after the shooting. I said, I don't think we should have this thing tonight, out of respect for what happened. So later that night, I went to this place. There was 6, 7 police officers, sheriffs there, and they are raising money for charity. Yeah. But they were having a good time, including the chief. Disrespect. And I didn't see anything in the newspaper about how much money they made with that fundraiser. I mean, I like fundraising, don't get me wrong. It's a good thing. But they should have had the respect not to have all those police go to Cameron, which is just a mile away. I tell you, this thing would not happen within Ocean Island, a mile away. It would not happen. In a gated community.
That's part of what I was just talking about, what I'm going to call a boundary issue. So not a racial issue, but a boundary issue. Even where the mayor was talking about, he realized this didn't happen in Half Moon Bay. It happened in the unincorporated.
Yeah, but now that's splitting hairs.
Well, I mean, but
yeah, I know what you're saying.
Here's where I'm saying.
That's Half Moon Bay as far as
I agree, and I'm from St. Carlos, and I say it's San Mateo County, so I don't care where it is. It's in our county. And what I'm saying is we're missing our supervisor of San Mateo County. And we're missing our sheriff's department of San Mateo County, who are the people that actually caused this to happen. And yet we've got great concerned citizens here tonight. And I think we need to somehow get to the people that actually, like you said, for the sheriff to be having a fundraiser. You're right. They should have focused.
I'll tell you right now, if that was a 300-pound man, if there was a 300-pound schizophrenic man, right, with a gun or a knife, they would have waited until they got 5 or 6 police cars. When they come into Moonridge, they usually come with about 3 or 4 cars, and that wouldn't help. But someone thought that would be easy doing with 18.
I would like to hear less from the white guys, please.
All right, okay. I'm going to invite maybe some folks who haven't spoken yet. Yes.
Hola, yo lo que queremos, seguridad para nuestros hijos, porque si un día se vuelve otra vez a presentar una situación así que queremos ayudar, ¿y qué van a hacer? ¿Van a matar a nuestros hijos? A mí me parece que es racismo lo que hicieron, porque no era para que la hubieran matado, tenía un cuchillo para mantequilla, y él tenía una pistola para defenderse, y no era de ella que tenía que defenderse.
So for me, it's hard to trust the officers based on what happened. This was, I'm just paraphrasing because it was, as I'm saying, but this was a very unequal incident. The young woman was with a butter knife, and the officer had a gun. And so it's very difficult for me to be able to trust.
No queremos que pase otra vez así, porque ¿qué hay para nuestro futuro de nuestros hijos aquí entonces? Si tenemos a Half Moon Bay, por bonito, por turismo, entonces ¿qué publicación estamos dando ya? Por policías ineptos y que no saben cómo tratar a las personas.
We have Half Moon Bay right next door to us, a beautiful tourist place, attracts a lot of people, and yet what I was saying, that we have police officers that are not able to do their job correctly, to keep the community safe in a correct way. How can I trust my children to that community?
And God knows they act out.
Hay una pregunta que siempre ha estado en el aire y que nunca la han dicho.
There's a question that's kind of hanging out in the air, and it hasn't been addressed yet.
Siempre se ha dicho que cuando pasa un accidente debe quedarse la persona ahí donde ocurrió.
So they say when there's an accident that happens, the people involved in the accident should stay in place.
Cuando yo oí el balazo, al momento salí de mi casa.
When I heard a gunshot, I came out of my home.
Y vi la niña tirada.
And I saw the young woman on the floor.
Entonces,
dicen que debe de quedarse uno allí y al policía inmediatamente se lo llevaron. ¿Por qué no estuvo en el lugar de los hechos en el momento que quedó la niña ahí?
And unfortunately, the young woman stayed there, but the police officer was taken away right away. Why did the police officer stay in the incident, the place where it happened?
Nosotros como mexicanos tuvimos muchos ahí alrededor, en varias partes, pero no por el simple hecho de que íbamos a proceder en otra cosa. Simplemente estábamos viendo lo que estaba pasando.
So there were a lot of us around, a lot of Mexican people, a lot of us from our community, not because we were going to do anything else, we were just there watching the incident, what was taking place.
Y supuestamente se dice que la niña murió en el momento que la golpearon boca arriba.
And so I heard that the young lady died when she was turned on her back, face up.
So if anyone has any other personal reactions they'd like to share, I want to open it up. Otherwise, this gentleman here has kind of taken us to a next question that I have, which is around questions that we all have, that you have in the room, questions about the situation that you would like answers for. What information do you desire more what questions do you have that you desire more information on? What would you like to learn more about? And who would you like to hear from?
I'd like to hear from the Sheriff's Department or from the coroner as to why she was lying there for hours after she was declared dead. Why was she there at the scene for hours in the middle of the street?
Didn't you tell me that the cop didn't live paramedics with your sister as well? Or was that just taken out? That's true or not? Because I kind of heard that, like, when the ambulance got there, like, the cops would have let the girl off for some reason. So that, like, kind of make a difference. And that was, I mean, if it did happen, obviously, I was really mad about it. I'm just asking something if it's true. That was a statement that I heard out there as well. But I see if it's true or not. Because you would get.
If you want to answer the question, you can, but I want to suggest that we present these questions as a group and not put any one person on the spot. I'll leave that up to you whether you want to answer, but I really think that what we're trying to do is ask the questions and make comments that Cindy's going to capture up here. We're not asking the questions here because we're going to find the answers today, but we're going to make sure that these questions and comments get to the decision makers and those that need to hear about it and make changes. Yes, Cindy.
Yeah, so I just want to add to that. So a lot of the reason why we're recording this information is because it is things that are going to be taken back to the folks that you want these questions addressed to, so that they know that these are the kinds of questions the community has. If you notice, if you picked up a flyer at the entrance, it talks about the series of dialogues. I think either the last or semi-last series will be an opportunity to have dialogue with the Sheriff's Office present. So you will be able to do this with the Sheriff's Office present. But we want to be able to let them know that these are the questions you all are having, so that when they come prepared to answer a lot of the questions that you have. We unfortunately don't have any answers. We don't know a lot of the information. We know it's probably as much as you. But we want, so that's what we want you to know. These questions, they will be translated back to them, so they know that this is what the community wants to know. And when the opportunity comes where they will be joining these conversations, that will be an opportunity for them to share a lot of these answers, and then you'll be have an opportunity to have some of this dialogue with them as well. So I just want to kind of clear that up.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I want to know why this police officer responded to this call all by himself. And I also want to know what was his training for responding to this situation that he already knew about.
Tell me more.
5150. He already knew what he was going into. He already knew that this person had a knife. Why did he respond all by himself?
Okay, quiero empezar por decir que hay muchos sentimientos que yo tengo que tal vez no los puedo expresar hoy, pero por eso estoy dando tiempo para que la familia y los amigos puedan hablar. Yo sé que están enojados por lo que pasó, yo sé que están tristes y ahorita es el momento de hablar porque ellos son los que van a llevar las preguntas.
Can you say that in English?
I want to talk about my feelings, and I think I don't have enough time to talk about my feelings right now, so I just want to invite my family and my friends to talk about how they feel, because I know they're angry, they're sad, and I think this is the right time to speak up, because they're here to help us. And one more thing, una cosa más, también quiero decir que los servicios que nos traigan aquí ellos son bienvenidos, pero no por eso nos vamos a quedar callados. Tenemos que seguir luchando. Another thing is that whatever services we get from this, you know, they're welcome here. Whether they want to provide another police station, whatever that it is, it's welcome here. But we're not going to stop here. This is not going to be like, oh, show your map. This is the service. We want to keep going with this.
Yo solo tengo una pregunta chiquita. Creo que eso lo van a llevar con la policía, ¿verdad?
You're going to share this with the sheriff department.
Solo yo quiero que le pregunten por qué.
I just need to
Nosotros ya
know
tenemos
why.
la respuesta, pero queremos que él lo diga. ¿Por qué?
We already know why, but we want to hear what they say, their why.
Michael, you will.
I just like to know how many shots were fired.
I would like to hear from
Yo nomás alcancé a oír un tiro, nada más. Y en el momento que oí el tiro fue cuando salí para afuera. Pero también desde que pasó ese incidente, yo estoy enojado. Pero también desde ese momento la policía ya ha entrado para adentro. ¿Cuál es el motivo?
So only one shot, I heard one shot and I came outside. I am mad, I'm angry. And since then, I haven't seen the police come by the neighborhood. Why?
What was the last part of that?
Since that incident, the police has now come by the neighborhood where the incident occurred. Why?
Has not come by?
Has not, la policía no ha venido.
Yo no lo he visto que entre para
He has
adentro.
not seen them. He has not seen them.
Yo tengo una pregunta en lo personal. Pues aquí todos creo que tenemos algún hermano, algún hijo. Y yo creo que todos sabemos, queremos saber qué es lo que va a pasar con el policía que hizo esto.
So we're all here, we have somebody, we have a friend, we have a brother, we have a sister, and our question is, what's going to happen to this police officer in the future, moving on from here?
Yo en lo personal pienso que ya no debemos confiar en ese policía porque yo aquí tengo mi hija. No quiero que una persona como esa le venga a dar un tiro solo por nada.
Here's my young daughter. I'm afraid I don't want a police officer to just have opportunity to shoot my daughter.
Yo tengo el ojo muy grande, yo soy amigo de la familia y me duele lo que está pasando, lo que están pasando y no sé cómo ayudarles, no sé cómo expresar mis sentimientos hacia ellos.
I am very angry. The family is a very close friend of mine, and I lack knowledge of how to deal with my own feelings, my own sense of anger.
Por eso le quiero pedir a todos los que están presentes acá que digan algo porque esto va a ir a las personas que están encargados de esto para tomar algo de justicia. Apoyemos a todos.
Those of you here, please speak up because all these things are going right to the right parties and we want justice done. So please speak, share your feelings, share your thoughts.
Yo en lo personal yo pienso que el policía que hizo esto, ahorita está echado en su cama, tomando su refresco bien helado, con goce de sueldo, como diciendo, ok, mataste a una persona, aquí está tu premio. y la otra familia llorando, sufriendo.
I think that maybe the police officer is now relaxing and he's just like going back to his normal everyday activities while the family of the young lady is suffering and is in deep sorrow. Thank you.
Sir, do you want to? Well, I think that almost everyone, kind of going back to your question about how to feel, I think almost everyone would say that their first reaction on hearing this was shock, tragedy, and the idea like, well, there's something completely wrong. This never should have happened. So my question is, who in the system could actually respond and say, yes, here's where the problem is? I fully expect that almost how it has to go is that the district attorney's office, the sheriff's department will report out on this and come to a conclusion that this was justifiable, and they will have some explanation legally for that so. So my question for me is, who in the system actually could say there's something wrong and it should have been different and here's what we need to do? I have no, that's my question. Who could actually do that? Because the system is set up to not do that. That's why there is no comment. That's why they make no comment. That's why they don't come to meetings, because there's concern about being sued, about liability, about protecting the officer. That's just how the system works. So my question is there anybody formally in the system who actually could take up that question?
¿Por qué cuando un padre corrige a su hijo con darle una nalgada, una pela, viene el policía corriendo a corregir al padre? ¿Por qué en este caso el policía no ayudó a la niña y en vez de matarla la hubiera ayudado y lastimó a la madre? Ahora fue al revés. La mamá vio todo lo que pasó.
So my question is, in child abuse law, when a parent strikes the child, the police comes, or spanks, not strikes, spanks the child, the police comes right away, and there's a report filed. Here there was a violence done to this young lady. The mom was right there too. And what happened? What were the repercussions?
Ahora corrigió a la mamá. ¿El policía? ¿Cómo es eso? ¿Por qué le quitó la vida a su hija? No tenía derecho.
The police officer took away the life of the daughter. He, in a way, corrected the mother's actions. What right did he have to do that?
I was running home that, right? And like you and I'm Mexican.
I have another question.
Okay, did you want to? Yeah, I just wanted to say that I agree with Jim and everybody in this room saying that I think it's really important that we're talking about our feelings, and I think that's a first step towards healing. But I have the same concern that before I hear this report, justifiable homicide, I feel really helpless about what to do about that, and the total helplessness that I feel about who to ask as to how are we not going to hear that, or what who is the one responsible making the decisions. I know there's a law and a process that we go through, but where is that person? Who is that person? Who is that group? And why aren't they coming?
So who is the decision maker and why are they not participating in the process? Is that in this process?
Is this officer still on duty? No. He's been taken off duty. Is there any way of getting the district attorney to file charges against this officer? Is there any way of doing that? That's a question.
I'm sure there's a way. I think our district attorney should recuse himself.
Yeah.
This relationship between it should go. I believe it should go to the state.
Yeah.
And I think maybe as a community, if we all came together with enough people to our district attorney and just said, could you please just recuse yourself and submit this to a neutral party? Yeah, I think we'd at least stand a better chance of getting to where a guy could, somebody could say, you know what, crime syndrome, instead of what we think is going to happen. We do will have to put statements in. The question I did want to know, this woman said that one deputy showed up. The sheriff's spokesperson has said 2 deputies arrived. I don't know if that's true or not. Can anybody tell me how many deputies showed up on the first call?
Did you see 2?
Only one. Only one. Because that's what I originally thought, but the official statement is 2 deputies arrived. And I never heard who the second deputy was.
What a surprise, a false police report.
Yeah, from our insurance.
Yeah.
Shocking. Okay, so one. Yeah, one. Okay, thank you.
Is there, I guess, another thing that I guess I'd like to hear, you know, and I don't know what the jurisdiction, and I know the legal process and all that, but, you know, maybe we need to get somebody like Jerry Hill or Jackie Spear or somebody like that involved. They're our representatives. We elected them here in our community. They're officials. And, you know, maybe as a group, we need to ask for more help from them. Okay.
Well, I can assure you they know about this meeting tonight.
I want justice. I don't want this to happen again.
Podría ser que para la próxima junta que hubiera, que nos fuéramos a reunir, hubiera un oficial de policía aquí para que contestara las preguntas.
I'd like to suggest that the next time we meet that there would be someone for the police department, for the sheriff's department, to address that question. Lo debería. Yes, he should be here.
Not just one, but all.
They want answers. People, they want answers. And I guess they have to come and
And just to reiterate, there will be that opportunity where we will have, I don't foresee it's going to be this one, but there will be sheriff's office representatives, deputies, we can't really say who, but I know it will be the sheriff's office will be here at some point, I don't know here, but will be present at some point to have, so you can have these conversations. Because I know a lot of people have a lot of questions, a lot of people, you know, you want them to be here, you want them to hear you, and you want them to get answers. So this is part of the way that we're helping them understand what you want to know, but at the same time, we will have the opportunity to talk to them. I can't tell you who will be here, how many of them, we don't know, but it is part of the series of conversations that are going to be happening. There will be a series or 1 or 2 like that where the sheriff's office will be here. So you will have that opportunity. Do you know if any of our elected officials are going to? I wouldn't know, but I can write it down as a question.
I would like to see Jackie Spear or Jerry Hill.
Okay.
Or Jerry Hill should be here. And maybe John Mueller again, Mayor Mueller.
Pero no con armas, no matan.
No guns. We can get killed.
Ya que se presenten ellos, tampoco hay que insultarlos.
No, but when they come, we should not insult them. We should treat them with respect.
Estamos enojados, pero tampoco hay que insultarlos.
We're angry, but
Pero no que nos gane el enojo ni el coraje.
we're mad.
Siempre para que esto no quede impune. Queremos justicia. Justicia.
We're mad, but we don't want this to be a negative light in our community. We just want justice.
Yeah.
Well, and I would suggest that the person from the sheriff's office be the sheriff. That's who should be at this meeting. Greg Munch. He's your elected sheriff. And then if not he, Carlos Romanos is the second in command. So one of the top 2 guys should be here. They're the ones that set policy.
Anyone else would like to speak? Yes, I would like to see when representatives from the department, I would like to see that person not be a representative, but one of the sheriff himself.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. Maybe as a group, so you say that, we want to share that.
Yes.
He doesn't live that far from here.
So just for clarification,
Go about it.
just for clarification, you want the sheriff themselves here, not a representative. Is that what you're saying?
You want the sheriff to come?
So, if I can, one thing that upsets me is the day after the shooting, I went to Movement and I was there with the kids getting off the bus. There were 100 kids get off the bus, 3 buses, coming from the school, the little kids, right? And the kids were met by 2 male sheriffs. The sheriffs gave them stickers with the star.
Oh, yeah.
So as the kids come off the bus, the sheriff gives the kid the sticker. Like
The day after.
there was no women, no social services, nothing to support kids. Some of these kids had seen this girl running in the street the night before. 16 hours before. No real mental support. Sandy County has a lot of resources, mental health, lots of resources. They should have brought that over to this incident. 2 police officers giving stickers out to kids. The sheriff's killed a woman the night before. Now they're giving these out.
So that was just during the daytime?
In the daytime.
Is this the next day?
The next day.
So I heard they had that at the meeting on the 5th.
They might have, but
The people that attended, whatever the meeting was.
I was discussing it, and it's like, they shoot the girl, and then they're giving stickers out to the kids the next day.
That's shocking.
It's an insult.
Otra cosa que quiero decir también es que tal vez queremos que alguien del departamento del alguacil venga aquí, pero a lo mejor no queremos, porque como ya sabemos que ellos son corruptos, a lo mejor queremos escuchar de otra gente más arriba. Another thing I want to say is we want to see the sheriff, but maybe we don't. We want to see someone above the sheriff, someone that is not related to the sheriff, because we know how corrupt this system is. So maybe we want that. Otra cosa también es que no solo hablando sobre mi familia, sino hablando sobre la comunidad de los niños. No hemos recibido ningún servicio en términos de terapia, nadie ha venido a visitarnos, lo tomaron como una cosa que no es nada. Y no solamente hablo acerca de mí, sino a la comunidad de Moonridge, no hay servicios.
Hubo muchos niños que presenciaron eso y nadie ha visitado a la familia.
A lot of young children witnessed the incident and no one visited the family.
That's terrible.
Si hubieran matado un perro, hubiera sido más valor para ellos.
If a dog was killed, it would have been more eventful.
Also, just to answer your question, the sheriff, there is nobody above the sheriff. The sheriff is the top. And he's elected.
So if we have to go and see Obama, we will.
No authority over the sheriff.
Michael, I understand your desire to answer, but really we're here to collect questions and to hear from everyone.
So why is this officer not in jail? I'm pretty sure if it was a regular community member who would have shot someone else, he would have been held in custody while the court case waited. While the investigation process is taking place.
No es un hispano, si no ya estuviera And nacidos en Marias. It's not Hispanic. Otherwise, it would already be done. It wouldn't be around.
Great, so I want to ask everyone, before we move, I have one other set of questions, but I want to make sure that anyone who would like to share or ask a question or share their feelings and reactions, to feel free to do that. Is there anybody else who'd like to share something?
Justicia y que el malhechor esté en la cárcel, no en su casa ganando su cheque.
Justice, and so that the officer that was involved in the incident would not be home getting a paycheck, but would be incarcerated or in jail. Would be at this time.
I'm waiting 2 months is crazy. 2 months for investigation. It took 20 seconds. It took 20 seconds. Why is it going to take 2 months?
With how many witnesses? How many witnesses were there?
2 months?
How many witnesses were there?
How many were there?
There were a lot.
Cuantos? Oh yeah, everybody was there.
Including
Sounds like.
Reed and Rim was hired.
And it takes 2 months to investigate? That's crazy. That doesn't make sense. Got witnesses.
Have they been interviewed?
No.
No, I would have
Okay, what was your question?
Okay, I know you don't want me to ask questions, so we'll talk after. I would actually like to interview, whatever you want.
Ya que pasó el incidente, yo soy de vecina de Tony. Su mamá me gritaba a mí, me decía, Lupe, la mataron. Yo pensé que era uno de mis hijos. Yo salí, ella me abrazaba y yo la abrazaba a ella, porque ella estaba pues muy mal y el policía me quiso retirarte con la mamá y ella me decía que no. ¿Por qué querían hacer eso, retirarme de la mamá si ella estaba pidiendo, presenciando todo? Y ella misma me decía, ese policía me mató a mi niña. Yo también me sentí muy mal. Yo sentía como que yo iba a caer porque yo temblaba mi cuerpo.
I'm the next door neighbor with the mom of the young lady that passed away. And the mom was crying and reaching out to me saying, they've killed my daughter, and wanted to hug me. And the police officer was discouraging me from staying with the mother and supporting her. My question is, why would he pull me away in a time of need where she needed the help? Why did he pull me away and not want me to be with her?
También yo tengo un niño especial. Yo no quisiera también que sucediera eso.
I also have a special need child. I don't want that to happen to him.
Yo entiendo esa familia lo que está pasando, toda la comunidad, porque ahí hay varios niños que cuidan cuidados especiales y tienen temor ya de salir.
I understand the community's concern. There are a lot of kids that are special needs children and they're afraid to go outside.
Ya no confiamos.
No trust.
I'm gonna say it in Spanish. So cuando la junta que tuvieron cuando fueron las otras personas para decidir que la comunidad tuviera, los sheriffs pusieron una foto en Facebook diciendo que habían ido a dar su apoyo. No presentaron su apoyo, se pararon 5 segundos y se fueron.
Can you say that in English?
So the day after, 2 days after, community numerous asked for someone to come out like this, to ask questions to the sheriff's office. That night, the sheriffs posted a picture of their sheriffs in line saying that they were there to show support for the community members. They were there 5 seconds and left. They didn't show support, they left. Why did they leave?
We're going to do whatever we can.
And they tried arguing with me on Facebook, which is not going to happen.
Feel like they're part of this community.
Anyone else?
Something in place.
Okay,
Get
so
representation
looking forward and
on the coast.
looking for opportunities in the future. I want to ask, are there resources or community assets, things that can help address issues in the future? So how can we use this,
That has to continue.
I guess the question is,
The message out to all of the people on the coast.
how can we address this issue and move forward and use this as an opportunity?
They'll cover it, they won't charge anything. There's a lot of things already.
I just don't see it happening. I'm a real optimist. Anybody that's known me, and I've been in the community a long time, I've always been optimistic. But unless this guy goes to trial, unless there's a jury, a real jury and a real trial, this officer doesn't get what I don't want to say get what's coming to him. That doesn't sound, I mean, it's not very judicial, I guess, for lack of a better term. But there's got to be some kind of justice, and this guy's got to come to trial. And there's this thing with the sheriff's in any police department. I've seen this with Half Bay Police when I was here. I've seen it with sheriffs. There's that good old boys, good old white boys group. And you know what? It's all about them. It's all about protecting each other. It's not, you know what? It's not going to work anymore. If this doesn't go to trial, nothing's going to get resolved here. Nothing will get resolved. There's no. I mean, I'm sorry you're trying to build on some kind of positives here. There's not going to be any positives. Something's got to happen. You know. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of upset people in this community. I've seen this has been building and building. I've got a very close friend in the Latino community. He's seen racism since the very start. And I've been listening to him, listening to his stories. He was coming, real quick, he was coming out of his shower one day. This is about 3 years ago. Coming out of the shower with a towel around his waist. There's 2 policemen standing in his hallway. And the guy goes, "What are you doing here?" He goes, "Well, we had somebody went to the CVS over here and stole some cigarettes, and they ran this way. We suspect he was in this house." Well, wait a minute. We suspect he was in. Hey, what are you doing here? You've got to have something. Don't you have a warrant? Well, they get all pushed out of shape. Suddenly they're like in his face, saying, "Well, what are you getting so upset about? What do you mean? What do you mean I'm getting all upset? You're in my house. You just walk in my house. 2 officers. I mean, that's just." She's doing something else. I hear stories like this, and this goes on a lot in the Latino community, and I don't even know about it. He got arrested for a broken windshield. He was on the side of the road right there by the Holiday Inn Express. He was on his knees in front of his car, and I drove over there and I asked the officer, "What's going on here?" "Well, he's being this or that." I find out later he's got a broken windshield. I go, "That's not why he pulled him over. That is not the reason why you pulled him over." I'm sorry to take up your time.
No.
This is like, it's building, and now I see this climax of a shooting and a murder. And that's what really bothers me, because there's racism in this community, and it doesn't need to be. We have just as many Latinos in this community as Caucasians, and we're all equals here. There's absolutely no reason for this to happen. Really frustrates me. I've got a daughter too, you know. Sorry to take up your time.
Yo comparto el mismo opinión que el señor, porque a menos que se haga algo con el oficial, porque esto no se va a olvidar. Esto no va a pasar, espero que no se olvide. 1 semana, 2 semanas, 1 mes ya casi, no se va a olvidar. Entonces, a menos que este policía esté en la cárcel, vamos a decir, ok, ocurrió algo bueno. A menos de que eso pase, va a quedar todavía en el aire. So I want to say that unless we see some justice, I agree with you, sir, right here, that unless we see some justice, we're not gonna be. We're not going to get those services in a right way. We need some justice here. It's something that we're not going to forget. I hope we don't forget in 1 year, 2 years, because this is something big.
Que no queremos que nada más esto que estamos diciendo o que estamos haciendo por ayudar a la familia de Tony, que quede en el aire. que no vengamos nomás a gastar nuestro tiempo aquí y a sentarnos a decirles lo que pensamos y lo que queremos y lo que necesitamos, sino que de verdad se haga algo, se haga justicia.
So what we would like is for everything that was shared here this evening to support Tony's family, for it not to stay here, but to really go somewhere. That we don't want this just to be gathered of information and thoughts, but for it to make change. We want justice.
Well, I just wanted to ask a question. I know that's not on the agenda.
Okay.
How can the whole community be of support?
Okay.
to Tony's family?
So Cindy, did you hear that? How can, yes.
We need protocols for officers to use to respond to these kind of calls. I heard that a mental health call, the police already knew about this, the problem that this young woman was having. They already knew. So we need response protocols. I'd like to see us have 24/7 crisis intervention. It says here 8 to 5 crisis service. What good does that do? We need 24/7 crisis intervention, and we need the police and mental health people to be working together on these things.
I was hearing that police harass Latinos and Hispanics, but I never hear that they harass
So,
white.
out of time, like I would like to ask.
Yeah, right. You're right.
But we have this call here about the actions and summarize.
Anyone else? Perhaps someone who hasn't had a chance to speak up yet. This is really an opportunity to share your perspective, ask your questions.
Right here.
Yes.
Well, me personally, you know, I'm back in high school, I have my little thing back and forth with the police. I mean, I was kind of like, I was in juvie for one day, but that's whatever, I'm done with that. But my question is like, and I felt like on my own, I had to experience at first, like the first touch with like the older racism that happens like, on the street, like nobody just like walking home and like getting harassed by cops. Like, what are you doing here? And like my big question is like, what's the protocol for a routine traffic stop? Like, why do they have you 4 cops right behind you when you're getting pulled over? Like, I mean, having that pulled over now, wow, being waiting to get pulled over, I think even because I know what they say to them, and what I can do to me, what I can't do. But like, it's always. But that's not just for Latinos or white people, everybody here has to be. I saw somebody who's like 4 cops, you know, that in front traffic violation. Like, what, you know, having 4 cops on one person, like, how you read up there and you laugh at somebody that's in this car, half the time to come out with for a it always happens like all the time it happens half the day. And the way that put the little traps, like I just how in this top of the side of the highway, this would have like the lower lights on, but they never do. They always have lights off, like and I can always see them. I know where they're at. But like it's not illegal for them just to be like stopping this on the side of the road. It's super dark and you can't see them until like they're right next to you. There's no chance to like slow down. I mean, not drive fast, but sometimes like kind of in a rush when it's like this with all the brush. But they always just like following people from the bars. And
You want to know what is the protocol, or what are the rules around traffic stops and
yeah, because I feel like it's too much for a speeding ticket to have 4 people on you and like asking you a question at the same time. That's pretty like, for me it's not nerve-wracking, for other people it is. Like it's asking you a different question at the same time, and there's 4 officers with their freaking canine dogs on the patrols, like intimidating people that are unnecessary for the sheriff. And it was a big change since they came in, because like we had the HMBPD, they all knew all the kids because they all lived here. So once it happened, HMBPD like went away, and all this like harassment started happening with the sheriff at front. Like they didn't care about the community. Just come here and do this job. I don't care if you're white or not, still gonna get you for what I think is wrong on their eyes. But I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me, like what they're doing or being doing if they came in into the Happy Bay area.
Hablando realmente sobre lo que queremos aquí, yo pienso que hubiera sido diferente la reacción si, como dice Carlos, si hubiera habido un policía que conozca la comunidad. Un policía que, como él dice, desde que se incorporó el sheriff aquí, como que a los policías no les importa lo que hagamos. Yo pienso que si algo se pide es que haya una estación de policía de Half Bay que se preocupe y que conozca la comunidad.
En inglés.
Okay, so now realistically talking, it's what we want. It's a police station here. It's our own police station that that really knows the community. Because I think this would happen if we had a police station that knew the situation and then create that friendly community with the police. So that's what we're asking right now. To have a police station, I guess.
Okay, I want to hear from you, and I want to really open it up and say that this will be our last opportunity, and then we're going to come together as a large group. So, we'll hear from you and anyone else who wants to have their
Don't you think the situation would have been handled differently if it was right across the street and looking all the noises?
Oh, yeah. Colony would have been different.
Didn't that thing happen? With the officer?
They're ready.
I want to hear from you before we. Yes.
I actually want to see that officer behind bars because if you think of it, once you kill someone, you can't just snap your fingers and bring them back to life. It's not
One more thing, just like the film from the Tony family, like we might say that we do a lawsuit that happened, like they don't give a crap about the money whatsoever. They're after justice, not their freaking money. Because whether they get $1 million back, they're not gonna get their sister back. So they're like tell to come forward, not about their sister money, and we're trying to get some justice for her, and like to get something for this couple. He can just get away from something like this that happened. Sorry, I'm not worried. If he can get away with it, like if killing like an 18-year-old, and then he's like a big man with a gun, he can't do this anymore.
Thank you. So if we can all kind of come back to the way we were, we're going to just talk as a large group for a couple of minutes.
Crisis here. I know that I think I asked her, I don't know, she said she wouldn't, but I didn't know this was my place. I'm just wondering. That was a question because that's the first.
Maybe we can point out that she is here, but
Okay, that's
yes.
Why there wasn't?
Yeah, so maybe we want to invite people to come and sit down here. And are you leading this again? I'm going to invite people to come.
Yeah, I have been asking, but they are kind of taking a break. Great.
Well, yeah, so yeah. She'll be around, so I'm sure
Can I have everyone kind of float back to your chairs, please? We'd like to hear from each of the groups. My understanding is that we have a representative from each group who can summarize what happened in the group.
Do you hear me? Clap once. Do you hear me? Clap twice. Do you hear me? Clap 3 times. Do you hear me? Clap 4 times.
Where's the music?
All right, go for it.
Thank you, Cindy. Okay, so you guys did some really hard work, some good work, some intense work in your groups, and you really engaged in the dialogue, and we want to thank you so much for stepping up and participating. We've taken voluminous notes, and that information is going to be passed on. And so I think one thing that's nice is when the groups can share with each other some of the themes that came out of your conversations. So we have some very, some representatives from each group. So can you put your hand up? Who is it? Yes, the summarizer here and the summarizer over here. Somebody who has offered to report out? We didn't choose. Oh, okay. Anyone from our group who would like to report, or would someone like to give a general report of maybe 2 or 3 things that came out of the group? Anyone? Oh, thank you so much. Okay. Okay. Oh, perfect. Thanks. Okay. Very good. So, why don't we start over here? You had some themes that kind of came out of the group that you could summarize and share with the other group.
The main piece that we discussed was, like, one of the larger concerns was the complete lack of concern or attention in any sincerity from the county itself, since it is the county that is responsible for the sheriff's department, and that included the district attorney. The lack of youth representation in this particular meeting, and the declining representation over time. Specifically, racial profiling of the sheriff's department, the criminalization and harassment of youth, particularly youth of color, the lack of oversight or jurisdiction in the part of the city over the sheriff's department, and then the lack of cultural literacy, and that kind of meant like not just about the Mexican community, but also about mental health and the people that are afflicted with mental health. There's no mental health training or services that we know of that are consistent in this area. The absence of resources to attend to mental health issues or even issues around racial profiling here locally. So maybe you have to go outside the area to get to them. And then a misunderstanding or a lack of information about the police procedures. To that, and transparency, the absence of lack of transparency, you give good information in terms of the 911 call, you know, all those sorts of things. And then that was it as far as the top.
Thank you. And so how did this group,
what were some of the things that came out of this group? And we had some information.
Yeah, so basically we share the same opinion with the other group. But basically one of the main things was justice. You know, everybody's screaming here for justice, and that's one of the biggest issue here. But in terms of justice, you know, how are we going to get the justice? Whether they want to cover up with services, you know, people agree here that you know, they're going to take the services, but it will be more welcome if we get the services with the right justice. Another thing we share is racism. You know, we've seen a lot of racism here in Half Moon Bay, especially in Moonridge, where for even a small traffic violation, they call 5, maybe 10 units. You know, we want to understand the protocols here for the police officers. I think that's also number 3, the police protocols. We want to understand, maybe have someone from the sheriff department, if not someone above, if there's even one, to maybe we can talk about these issues. Another thing we talk about is the support we're getting here, and I've seen none. You know, as a member of the family, you know, we've seen nothing from the government. We've seen nothing from the system, whether it's therapy, economically. We haven't seen anything. And now, not talking only for me, but talking about for the community in Moonridge, we don't see services. We don't see support. We don't see counseling. You know, what's going on? We really want to know that. Talking about the impartial party to investigate, we want to make sure that this officer, we want to see that this officer it's behind bars. That's what we want.
You actually want a criminal trial.
We want a criminal investigation with this guy, and
you want a trial.
Correct. Yeah. We want a trial.
Behind bars until then. Sorry to bother.
And
yes.
Also another thing I wanted to say is I want to say thank you everyone for being here tonight and supporting the family, and I want to say that please don't stop coming to meetings. Please don't stop showing support, because this is not only something that affects me and the family, but it's affecting you guys too. And if we get those services too, please take advantage of those services, because we really need them here. And don't stop here. We want justice. You're angry. You're sad. We want to do this. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for doing a great job of reporting out for everyone to hear. And now I believe we have some service providers who are here to share some information with the group. That's me. Buenas noches, good evening. So I work with the government. I work with the County of San Mateo with mental health. Trabajo por salud mental en Dallas. Y lo que yo he dado son información de los recursos que tenemos. I understand that earlier, there's issues about what happens after hours. I don't have information about that, but I promise by next Monday I'll have a flyer with places to call after hours. No tengo en su momento los números de personas, lugares donde personas pueden llamar después de las 5, pero lunes cuando vamos a tener otro punto voy a tener hoja con todos estos. Hay lugares de recursos por padres, la salud, la sala de emergencia, suicide prevention, la línea para evitar el suicidio y otros lugares. So lunes voy a tener una lista de todo eso. So Monday I'll have a list of those. What I have now is the services that we have on the coast in Spanish and English, and I understand that in terms of timelines, people don't necessarily need help between 8 and 5, but I can tell you that we have personnel on staff from 7 in the morning until 7 at night. Entiendo que la gente no quiere, cuando uno tiene un problema no es durante el horario de trabajar, pero tenemos personas en la clínica de las 7 de la mañana a las 7 en la tarde cuando hay visitas. Y también entiendo de lo que han hecho la última cita, la última junta, que fue muy importante tener hechos. I also understand it's really important to have deeds, not just talk. And I think one of the things that has been discussed is the frustration of what to do and how, people want mental health services, that's great. But I think the thing that's more prominent is also the anger about what happened and wanting to be more empowered as a community. Entiendo que la que dicen alguna gente que quiere recursos por su salud mental, pero también aparece que muchas veces el sentimiento que es más fuerte es de coraje y frustración. Hizo un hecho, no es tremendo, pero fue un hecho que no tiene un recurso de primeros auxilios for salud mental. So there's going to be a class, first aid for mental health. It will be on Saturday the 19th and 26th at Moon Ridge. It's free. There'll be lunch and childcare available. Sería de la a todos los estados, es gratis, cuidar a los niños y comida por lunch. Yeah?
Hi, the service you are offering, is this only for the emergency community?
No, they said other people can come. So it's
Could you clarify that when that goes out to the community, because most of the stuff has been only closed to emergency.
And is there someone here that took the mental health first aid at the church? Hay alguien aquí que tomó este curso a la iglesia. Es un recurso que es muy básico, que habla de cómo se puede comunicar, cómo se puede apoyar cuando tiene frustración, estrés, deseos de suicidarse. El otro recurso que tengo, y ahí hay una lista para firmar si tiene interés en este tipo de clase. Lo otro que tenemos es que lo que pasó no es una emergencia en la comunidad como un terremoto o un tsunami, pero es algo que se pone a uno a pensar de esas cosas. So this isn't a major disaster like an earthquake or a bomb blast or aliens landing or things that can happen, but it certainly is something that brings one to think about how to prepare. And there are, you can sign up also back for signing up for the classes for a 2-hour session about how to prepare your own house for emergency, and the other is more community presentation, which is a 20-hour course called Surge. And it's how people in communities take responsibility for being able to be the first ones on the scene and deal and support each other in that time. So hay dos cosas ahí atrás, uno por curso de 2 horas y otro por 20 horas para cómo prepararse y cómo se puede trabajar como comunidad, ayudar uno al otro cuando hay un desastre. El otro curso que tenemos es un curso de familia a familia, y no sé si Tony Lucas habló de esto. Es un curso que uno se aprende cómo se puede apoyar a su familia si hay alguien que tiene un problema de salud mental. Entonces eso entiendo que lo que tenemos nunca es bastante, nunca es la cosa que uno necesita en un momento. Yo sé que también por uno decidir servicios de salud mental debe tener mucha confianza, porque ¿qué puede platicar de sus tristezas que no siente cómodo con la gente con quien está hablando? As I say this, I realize that any kind of mental health services has to be done when there is an atmosphere of trust, and it's not something that's given lightly, and it's something that has to be built up. So I hope we're able to do that. So yo tengo mi esperanza que cuando uno viene a nuestro clínico por servicios podemos preguntas. Questions?
Yeah. I went to Moonridge the day after the shooting, and I saw the children getting off the school buses. And they were met by 2 male sheriffs. And the 2 male sheriffs, I saw 2 male sheriffs hand out 100 stickers to 100 little boys and girls. And that's all I saw in the way of any help those little kids would get coming off that bus. They get bused from the school to Moonridge. Could you tell me why you didn't have people there on scene to help these kids? Many of these kids witnessed, heard the gun, are traumatized by this. Can you tell me why Tony tells us tonight, the brother of the deceased girl, that they've not received any help to date? There's 2 questions which really trouble me.
Well, I can understand why they trouble you. I know that the teacher from Serrano came out and talked to the students in the morning when they got on the bus. I know that we were in Moonridge the day after the shooting. And I know that it's always been in the right time and the right way with the right services.
Well, you mentioned earlier that, you're equipped for events like this wasn't an earthquake, or a tsunami, or aliens from space. This is just an incident, but it's an incident that really needed some help. These kids needed help. These kids had one of their community, an 18-year-old girl, killed, and the very people that killed the girl were out giving these kids stickers, sheriff stars, off a roll, like they do, which normally is great. I just don't get it. It was just me. It was just really, really ugly. I know the sheriffs were really, I'm not knocking the sheriffs who were there. They're doing a good job, these 2 male sheriffs. But when I've seen situations like that, I've often seen police women out there dealing with these little kids. Because, especially in a situation like this, and there's plenty of police women on the force that can do that. So, I wonder what your feelings are.
I'm not part of the sheriff's department.
No, I know you're not.
And I think
I know that.
I think that one of the issues that we're trying to be addressed is trying to give alternative experiences for their children, which have been the primary experiences. The sheriff's department has done many things at Moonridge over the years to try and build support and trust. And I don't know if the people that are giving out the stickers are the people that have been there before. I don't know that. Maybe the people that were giving out the stickers are the ones that have been moved before, and they would be the ones that are most comfortable with the children. I don't know.
So I'm afraid we have to wrap up because we're getting really close to the end of our time. And I just want to say, if you have questions, feel free to address it. Sort of offline, do you want to make yourself available? Sure. Okay, so your name is Mary. Mary M. is here to provide a resource and information. And so there's a way for people to check back in with you.
Sure, our number is on the brochure for mental health. That's the number of that.
So thank you, Mary M. And I also want to thank you all again for being here, and I want to thank Dirk Alvarado and Mayor Muller and all of you. And so I want to just see if we can get a quick sense of how the facilitation went tonight. We do something called a plus delta, and maybe if you could just give us, it's really important for us to continue to improve our service to you. If we know what worked well for you tonight and what you think could have worked better. So anybody?
A trial with a jury right in this room right here with the murderer.
So you really would like to see some other
I'd like to see it right here now.
Okay.
Yes.
I hear that.
Raise your right.
It was hard to hear. I don't think the setup was really very good. Okay. Hard to hear. Anything else that you can
give us feedback on?
I
Yeah.
think the positive was the translating for the Spanish speakers.
Okay, so let's give Esther Kozaczuk, our interpreter, a big hand. Yes.
I would have liked, I know it's difficult logistically, but I really think it's important for everyone to mix. So I would like to see a meeting where there was more mixing. I think that many of us are bilingual, and I think we could really do that. And so I'd like to see that happen more.
So you would have liked to see more large groups?
Or just more mixing where it's not more of one group with, Spanish speaking only. I really think that we should make an effort to bridge that gap. And I think we can.
Thank you. Yes, back here and then.
I was expecting to see somebody from the sheriff's department.
Okay, thank
And
you.
it was working with the sheriff's department.
You would have liked to have seen that? Yes.
Another suggestion to ensure that both groups are bilingual is maybe another translator as well. One more person.
Thank you. We can't get enough translators. That's really an important resource, so thank you. Any other feedback for us? Yes?
I think it was good to have dialogue, just to have some place to talk about how upset items are, or a place to do that.
We appreciated the opportunity to have dialogue.
Tony?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Well, I guess one of the other positive and the negative, I mean, the positive is, depending how you look at it, is the city kind of getting behind and put some of these things together. But the negative is the impacted community, the extended impacted community is here. The actual impacted community is Moonridge. So these things should be happening in Moonridge. It shouldn't be tailored to the comfort of the people that just live downtown. It should be tailored to the community that actually is feeling the direct impact. And if there's no facilities there, if there's no way to do that there, then that should be something people in the larger community need to know. They need to actually see what the conditions are to understand the impact of the community that's most affected.
Thank you. So that's all we have. Dirk from Sunrises, did you want to make a final?
Yeah, just really quick. And one thing, we are doing it up at Moonridge as well, and actually there's been 2 meetings there. I'm not affiliated with any of the agencies that any of you really want to see there. But what I do know for the process is that the next 2 meetings, which are going to be on June 30th at Moonridge and then July 10th, actually at the community center, a representative from the DA's office will be there. They won't be talking specifically about the case, but they will talk about what their office is, why they were tapped to do it, and what the process is. At the end of this series, and we have some for the youth as well, and then some for the special needs community, so we wanted to make sure that it was as inclusive as possible. But at the end, the Sheriff's Department, when the investigation is closed, will be at these meetings so that you can address your concerns with them. But thank you guys very much for coming out tonight. Please make sure that you get the schedule. My number's on there if you want to call about any questions. And again, I'm not affiliated with any of the agencies, but I can tell you about the process. Thanks, Dirk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go down really quick because there's so many of them.
You're welcome. Thank you.
microphone?
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to move.
It looks weird. It looks weird.
It looked like it was kind of nailed down, you know. Anyway,